Day 2, Adam already has the core support and just the whole front of the car off. And we wanted to kind of highlight the S65 because this is not a view a lot of people get to see. We actually don't see this view a lot either because we very rarely remove a core support from a car. We normally pull motors through the bottom, and we will pull this through the bottom with the subframe. As you can see here, this engine has some valve cover leaks. Right now, because the core support's off, the core support actually has the oil cooler right there in the bottom. So these are oil cooler lines. They run on the front of the motor up here to the oil filter stand. All of this is getting transferred to the 328. You know, be able to mount the headlights, to be able to mount the radiator, to be able to mount all of the front end components, the bumper support, all of that. It's all here in this front support. And of course the bumper hides that. So we laid it out in this way so you guys could see the steps of how it goes on. But there's bolts here. This is actually the frame rail of the car. This section, the frame rail portion, is the same as the 328, which you guys will see, which is what makes the swap mechanically really cool, because this is gonna fit right into the wagon, just as you see here, and will look exactly like this. And all of the components here will go to the wagon, and then the fenders, both fenders on both sides, all the inner structure here will also fit. And then the side skirt we'll actually have to make custom for the length of the wagon and still have the design elements that the M3s have here. It's a whole front clip of the car, including the motor and all these components, which is what makes the swap so cool. But it's also why you need to have two donor cars like we started with. So you have all the components, you have all the clips, you have all the trim and the framework to be able to do this. Adam's already took the drive shaft out from the back. We have the 4 subframe bolts that are on the bottom here. Those are gone. He's now loosening the top of the struts. So we're gonna drop everything out together out the bottom. This is typically how we remove motors here on pretty much every car we work on. It's the safest way to do it. Protects the paint, protects the body. It allows it all to come down as one piece. We don't have to disassemble anything. This is the engine harness. The engine harness has been disconnected from the junction box, which is here. So that basically separates the engine harness from the chassis harness because that's where it's married. These are all the connectors for the junction box. We'll be able to bring that down with the motor. So when we pull the engine out, the engine harness will come with it, still connected to the motor, but disconnected from the chassis. Where we left off last time, Adam had just dropped the S65, which is actually right here beside me. And since then, he's actually been able to separate it from the transmission. We've been able to get it onto a pallet. We're going to start crating it up to send to Carbon. The actual subframe is over there behind it. We'll go through that on a later time. And Adam went ahead and got the E91 on the lift for basically the same process. We're gonna take the rear subframe out. We're gonna take the motor and everything out. But this is a good way to kind of segue into what the process is to do this. We get a lot of calls about projects like this. Can you guys do an S85 and an E30? Can you guys do a wagon M3? Can you do this? And my response is yeah, we can absolutely do it, but we need to have 2 running and driving cars. This is an XI, which is an all-wheel drive model. All of them were 328, but some were wheel-wheel drive and some were X-drive. And this particular model that we found, this clean example, again, it has like 65,000 miles, I think. It has a transfer case, it has some drive shafts and some axles that we're not going to be using. This has a more complex harness. This has more parts than the E90 has because of that transfer case and some of the axles. Well, all that's getting deleted, and that's also why the subframes have to come from the E90 M3 into this wagon. I think Adam is going to drop the rear subframe first, then we're going to go ahead and get this motor out and out of the car, and then we're going to go ahead and put the subframe, the M3 subframes in this car and get a rolling chassis out of it to then go to fabrication. So the motor's been dropped out of the chassis. I wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys and compare the front subframes, which are here and here, and the rear subframes, point out the similarities and differences between the E90 M3 and the E91 328 XI. Let me go ahead and start with the rear subframes. The one that's in the front here is from the 328, and the one that is here is from the M3. Right off the bat, you can notice that all of the control arms that are located here are aluminum on the M3. So they're lighter weight. I think they're trying to balance the weight difference. Obviously the M3s have bigger brakes. They have a much thicker axle. They also have a much bigger sway bars. If you look at the sway bar thickness here compared to like this 328 one, I mean, this is the thickness of a pencil. Basically the flat construction of the subframe, the M3 one is a lot thicker, a lot more robust, because it's going to take a lot more load, a lot more horsepower. Even the spring carriers on the bottom, the lower control arm, that's aluminum. This is all steel. It has a larger diff because it does a lot more work. It's a LSD versus an open. Even the bushings that are in the control arms and stuff are a different durometer than they are in the 328. To move on to the front subframes, one of the biggest things that you guys can notice in the X-Drive cars, the front subframes are steel. This is all a steel construction, while in the M3s and quite frankly in regular 328s, they have an aluminum front subframe. That's something that was new at the time for the E90 chassis because E46s and E36s all have steel subframes. This was when they were trying to introduce more lightweight aluminum to the cars, and this is when the E60s also had a lot of aluminum parts. You'll also notice the same differences where, look at the hub structures, like it's a lot more beefy, aluminum control arms here, steel control arms there. The sway bars are different sizing. It's another copy, again, of much beefier, much more for performance sort of base with the M3 than it is for the 328. Similarities really that you'll notice is the PCD, which is the arrangements of the studs on the top mounts here and on here are the same. This will literally bolt up, and the bolt pattern on the top of the strut tower is the same. In addition to the subframes, I want to talk about the motor and the differences between the two. And we have the N52 out, and we have it as a total package with the transmission and the drive shaft. A lot of the exhaust is still here, so you guys could just see how large of a package that is and how big everything is. A lot of people ask how we can fit the V8 in a wagon that originally had a 6-cylinder. When we have the bodies together, I'll show you guys that they're literally identical. The frames, where the transmission goes. But if you take a look at this whole package of this car and how large the transmission is for being the auto, you can kind of see why they build them all the same, so they can put different packages in, different transmissions, different engines. The N52 makes 215 horsepower stock, and the S65 makes 414 horsepower. So it's 200 horsepower difference stock for stock, and that's why all the M3 components are stronger, thicker, lighter, built for more power. And then with the 4.6 liter motor that we're going to put in this project, that's another 100 plus horsepower that we're adding. So that's where the aftermarket parts will come in. That's where the cooling parts will come in. Basically, that's where aftermarket comes in and helping people improve upon the stock. Next step we're going to take with the project is Adam is going to strip everything from the engine bay on this car. We're going to take the coolant lines off, the AC lines, a lot of the wiring and everything, and get it down to a bare engine bay ready to paint. And then after that's done, we're going to go ahead and get the M3 subframes in the car and get those fitted in. So then we're going to have a rolling M3 chassis. Then we'll adapt the body to that chassis. Let's move on to the next step and get the engine bay stripped down so we can get the subframes into the wagon. So we're at a pretty exciting point in the build. The M3 parts have now touched the 328 parts. We have the subframes from the M3 in the 328 wagon. We wanted to show you guys this before we did anything else because I wanted to point out a few things about the track width. So we did some calculations and some measurements. We looked up a couple things, and we're estimating it's between 1 and 2 inches wider track width wise. Because the brakes are wider, the arms are different, that there's actually some more width into it. And you can actually see it here if you look at the top of the fender, you look at the side of the fender in reference to this. So we've made zero modification to any parts on the car. There's been no cutting, there's been no welding, no nothing. The subframes bolt up with the 4 bolts that we pointed out earlier. earlier when we talked about the subframes. We want to do everything like BMW would have done at the factory. So Adam was able to get the front subframe and the rear subframe in. So let's walk to the back. We'll look at that. So I pointed out that the front subframe is aluminum, the rear subframe is steel, but it has a different construction than the factory 328 subframe. You can see the track width back here is just as wide as the front. And again, in the rear, these bolted up with the 4 bolts here for the subframe, just like it would go in back to the E90 if we wanted to put it back. We've modified nothing on the car to make this work. So next, Adam is gonna take the wheels that came on the E90, we're gonna fit them up to this so you guys can have another visual on the body and subframe comparison. And then he's gonna go ahead and transfer over the front clip from the E90, which is the fenders and the hood and the crash structure. It's also the bumper and everything. And the front of the car will need no bodywork fabrication in order to move that stuff over. The rear will, and we'll go into that once we start cutting and start doing some of the modification that the rear needs. We'll go into that in another segment. Adam's gonna go ahead and get started and get the wheels on, and we'll do another segment with that, and that's a better visual for you guys. We've been playing with fender and wheel fitment and testing the basic setup we're gonna be running on the finished M3 wagon. Over here, if you notice, this is the stock 328 fender and the stock 328 hood. Over on the other side is the M3 fender that we've mocked up. These offsets here in the front and in the rear is a mimic of what we're trying to run with the custom wheels that we're gonna be ordering. The rear is pretty much dialed in the way we want it to be. The front, we're still playing with the offset and how aggressive we're gonna run based on the coilovers. The car will have coilovers on it, so we do have that adjustment. It also will have some adjustment with the suspension arm, so we can dial it in. One of the other things that I'll point out, if you look here, the fender is actually physically longer than the straight portion on the hood, meaning that the hood on the M3s are longer. They're also wider because there's now a huge gap here, which would tell us that the hood on the M3 is wider than the 328 hood. The M3 fenders bolt on to the bolts up here at the top, but they do not bolt on to the side mounting here on the bottom that are actually here, which you can't see. There's actually brackets that run here where you bolt in the fender. The 328 has a bracket here that doesn't work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually order these brackets from the factory. I'm gonna have a video on that, show the differences in a tube. We could just cut the brackets off and spot weld it in. This is a recreation of OEM. It's important that all of the details, even stuff you guys don't see on this car, is done the way it would be done. Anytime this car goes, and if the car was to be wrecked and go to a body shop, they literally could buy an M3 fender and bolt it on the exact way that it would go on the E90. Adam is going to take over the next couple segments. He's going to be talking about the changeover of a lot of the body pieces like the hood, the front crash structure, the bumper, because we're going to mock all of that up because that's how you find things that is normally not a common knowledge, like the brackets and like the hood width and all of that stuff. He's going to go ahead and do that. He also is going to do an interior removal in the two cars. I'll let him take over from there and we'll continue moving on this project.